We're back! Did you guys miss us? We sure missed you. It is time for another episode of the fastest show on iSports Radio. This is the Extra Mile for today, October the 10th, 2019. Take a lap with us. Oh boy, we are going into round 2 of the second round of the playoffs. And ladies and gentlemen, there are some teams that do not want to go into this weekend having to race for points, but after what happened in Dover, they kind of have to. We're going to start with NASCAR today, as we got a lot of news to get to with them. But before then, let me welcome in my co-hosts for the evening, Caitlin Seen. Caitlin, welcome.
Daryl, it is the Caitlin and Daryl show these last few weeks. We're bonding pretty good over here. Yes, but I missed you. How's it going?
It's going well. Missed you guys. Missed you too. As we know, everyone went their separate ways last week for various, let's say, trips in some people's cases, and unfortunately, I was dealing with a family matter, so it was just a good time to take a break, get away from things. But
sometimes it's necessary.
It is. And we're refreshed, we're recharged, we're ready to continue as we are back here on the Extra Mile. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with NASCAR, and we missed the Roval conversation, so we have a little bit of that talk now, but we're going to go over to Dover because Caitlin was actually at the Roval. So I'm going to ask her, what did you think?
So, as I was telling you prior to the show, my disdain for the Roval did go down after witnessing it in person. I don't hate it as much. I don't love it, but I'm more like mildly indifferent now, which I feel like is a huge step because anybody who listens to the show knows how much I detested the Roval. But it was nice to see it in person to kind of get a feel of it. I'm still a little bit on the fence of like the whole, like, why did we really do this? Because really minus like maybe 50 total feet, they literally raced the entire speedway, which I feel like you don't get as much of a grasp as like on like TV as you do in person, that you're really like, oh, it might be 50 feet. Like, minus like the one chicane, like little pop out in the back stretch and like where like the turns connect near the front, like on the front stretch going into turn 1 is it. Like they literally touch the rest of the track. So that was kind of interesting. And if you sit high enough in the stands, you definitely get to see most of it. And we were high enough up. Thank the Lord we were high enough up that we were literally one of the like very first seats up in the grandstands that had shade 100% of the time. And for the fact that it hit over 100 degrees during this race, in like not even inside of the car, but like in like just in the air, so damn thankful for that shade because I literally thought I was going to die. The heat was rough. It was definitely rough. So I definitely felt for all of the people in the car. That is for sure. But it was really cool. Actually, I got lucky enough that we had cold passes, as well. So we got to hang out down in the pits and down in the garages prior to the race. So got to see a couple people going through there. And then it was cool because then after the race, we actually got to, go down at the flag stand and walk across the infield, and we actually got to go back into the garages again, walked by a couple of the drivers. Everybody was kind of focused. I wish I had something official on me because I would have stolen a couple clips of like audio for the show. Like I was literally right next to Blaney and Logano. Who else? A little focused on listening to the game in my headset at that point, but I was like, man, if I would have known that I was going to have access to these guys afterwards, I definitely would have tried to have been a little more professional and stolen a little clips, but I didn't quite realize that I was going to be down there after the race. But it was entertaining though. Obviously the restarts are everything coming into that turn, with Chase Elliott going headlong into turn one. It was super entertaining. I can say that. Everybody was, you're watching right there. And the majority of Charlotte fans are Chase Elliott fans. I can say that very easily. So I kind of cackled really maniacally when he hit it, because literally people were like, kids were crying. It was hysterical. Like, it was the funniest thing. Like, there was literally like these kids that were like sobbing because their driver had hit the wall. And I probably shouldn't have laughed, but I did laugh anyway because it's me and I can't contain myself on these kind of things. So it was kind of bittersweet justice, I guess, on my end, that the kid would come back and win this race. And him like doing the burnout where he wrecked was, I don't like Chase Elliott at all. And I was really impressed and amused when he did the burnout where he had wrecked his car. So that was pretty entertaining. But it definitely still had that road course feel for the fact that you're so quickly into like a green flag run. Everybody separates so thoroughly. So you're just sitting there and literally everywhere on the track is a car. And so you almost kind of get lost in the haze of all of these cars going by. And you don't even know quite where to look a lot of the times. Like, unless you're following like a specific driver. And even sometimes after that, you kind of just lose them a little bit in like all of the haze of the turns and stuff. But to me, that's a bit of the struggle of road courses in general, though, even though I really do enjoy road courses. But it does kind of get a little rough because at that point it does turn it. I mean, you have to be honest, it turns into a boring race because it'll turn into like this long green flag race. And everybody's just spread out. And then at that point, you're just driving. And so I think that's a bit of the struggle that NASCAR deals with anyways. But it was kind of funny because I was listening to Truex on the scanner. And one of the spins that happened in the very beginning actually happened right in front of him. And and anytime you miss any of like the little turns or anything, you have to completely stop in a designated zone in turn 4. I don't know how much they showed of that on TV, but a lot of people, it's that or a drive-through pit road, and a lot of people, like left and right, were having to do that. It was kind of crazy. But a spin had happened in front of him, and we were all kind of surprised that, like even the people I was with, that they didn't call a flag for that one. And then later on, like further closer towards the end of stage 1, there was a spin, and they instantly threw the flag on that one. And it was funny because Truex on his radio was literally just like, I don't understand why they called this one a caution, but the first one, which is a worse spin, they didn't call a caution for. And Cole Pern, his crew chief, comes on the radio and was like, it's because this race is really boring. And so I feel like it says something when, crew chiefs think that the race is boring, and that's why NASCAR called a caution. I just think it's entertaining. So it definitely had its quiet moments and had a few pickups. Congrats to Chase Elliott for making it entertaining, at least with his restart headlonging into the heartburn turn, which then just turned into the heartburn because he crashed into the turn sign. I would say, and I don't know if they showed this, but maybe the biggest entertaining highlight minus Chase Elliott was that when they red flagged the race near the end, everybody was parked there, and Kyle Busch, who was 3 laps down at the time, actually backed all the way up, like he backed up on the track so that he could drive backwards into pit road to park his car, because it was really hot, and a lot of them were complaining about being out of water, and like because it was getting up to like 140 degrees inside of the race car. But literally, it was red flagged at the end of the race. And here comes, and we're all like watching Kyle Busch literally back up on the racetrack until he can turn left into pit road and drive backwards down pit road so that he could park his car in the garage at the end of the race. And to me, that was just super entertaining because honestly, if I wasn't able to win that race, probably would have done the same thing.
Well, I'm glad you had a lot of fun. And before we continue, I want to welcome in our second co-host for the evening has joined us. Michael's here. Michael, what's up?
I'm back, finally.
Michael!
We are all back together, brother. How you doing, man?
Good. Working at a movie theater has been a magical experience.
How many movies do you get to watch for free?
I have to wait 2 weeks before I can see them for free, but... I right now I get to see It Chapter 2 for free, so I might swing around and see that before they take it off the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, uh, it's not so bad. You get to watch movies for free after 2 weeks, and then that's about it. But yeah, but enough about movie theater shenanigans. I'm back. I've been having to work during the show, which sucks, but I'm here now.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yep. So let us continue. So let's go on to shift gears to this week. We're heading into Talladega, and there's some drivers that unfortunately have to actually race Talladega. The situation being suboptimal. We don't need to go into deep detail of it. It used to be a plate track. It's now an unrestricted super speedway. The cars are really close together. There's a lot of drivers that usually don't run up front that see this as their last real chance to get a victory and try to upset the playoff drivers. And you got Joey Logano, who lost the axle in his car and up 24 laps down, was not a factor in Sunday's race in Dover. You had Clint Boyer, who didn't have a good day on Sunday at the Monster Mile. Chase Elliott lost the engine after only 8 laps. And then Ryan Blaney, who had mechanical issues during the race, they parked that car early. Those 4 drivers now have to go into Talladega and have to score points. This has to be for them. Sunday is going to be a thought of, do they try to stay out of trouble till late? Does that even work anymore in the non-plate era? Or are they just going to have to go to the front early if they end up in the back, or stay up front and pray for the best? Because, guys, to be honest, it's a lose-lose proposition because you could get wrecked either way.
Yep, Talladega is definitely a risky track.
Michael, you're echoing for some reason.
There was quite a bit of echo.
How about now?
That's better.
Ah, jeez.
Well, while Michael fixes that situation, Caitlin, you look at the drivers in the back. They're good drivers by any right. They're good drivers at the plate tracks. Chase Elliott's got a win here. Clint Boyer's got a one here as well that year that Stewart House Racing just blitzed the field. And Joe Logano's driving a Ford, and we know those cars have had great super speedway pace. But this is not the race to where you want to have to fight for it for all the reasons we explained earlier. And unfortunately, they're in this situation because of problems for 3 of them, largely not of their making.
Yeah, you're turning into a bit of a tricky thing coming into Dega.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like will make this a little bit more entertaining than it usually is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is usually like that ride around kind of race, but with there being so much pressure on so many of the drivers to have to do well to get into the next round of the chase this year, I feel like it did up that ante a little bit, and I feel like that makes it a little bit more exciting, because the thing is it's not just these top drivers that are racing in for this win. You still have all of these other regular drivers that are trying to win this race too, and everybody's going to be hungry for it. And all it takes is one little slip of a wheel in the middle of a pack to cause the end of somebody's championship chase, or multiple drivers' championship chase.
And of course, we also have to excuse me. Sorry. We also have to watch out for the weather, and we know what happens when we get weather and plate tracks. And guys, I'm looking at the early weather for Sunday. 40% chance of precipitation about the entire time the race is supposed to run. So we may see an early green flag, but there's a chance that a Justin Haley-esque victory could happen. And now you've just thrown the championship all out of whack, because now everyone has to go to Martinsville to try to get points to get in the playoffs, or they get caught out due to bad strategy. this is not the weekend to come in and say, great, now I have to win and get points because I screwed up the last week. Or I screwed up last week, excuse me.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of desperate attempts in each race, especially early on, if the rain is going to be a factor.
And desperate race car drivers means a higher chance of wrecks, and we know how the big one happens at Talladega, almost at random. Still waiting for the first big one that wipes out the entire field, but a good 15-20 car stack up that takes out quite a bit of playoff drivers, and this playoff grid that we have right now gets flipped up on its head.
It's a little terrifying, but also a lot entertaining.
Means it's going to make it fun for us to watch this weekend. I cannot wait. And we did have some news, big news, during the week. The NASCAR, wow, I know how to speak. NASCAR had a 2-day test for the next-gen car. They had a generic body slapped over the chassis. It was more of a chassis test from what it seems to be how they handled things. Austin Dillon ran the car for the last 2 days. No media was at the track. They did post pictures of the car on social media. And the one thing I will say positively about the car is the new rims. Currently they have the 5 lugs on it. They might go to 1, we're not sure. Either way, the new rims look sweet on that car.
Oh yeah, those rims look nice.
I'll concur with that part.
That's what the only part.
Also, why is
the paint scheme is terrible.
Oh my goodness! Like, first off, it looks like the Christmas peppermints, like the swirly ones, but in black and white, and like somebody like regurgitated and threw up all over the car, or like tried to paint it with one of those kaleidoscope things we had as a kid.
I'm just like, can y'all take
like? Is it so that like people can't like mimic it somehow? Not that anybody really wants this car anyway.
Well, here's my question about what they're doing with it. So it makes sense in GT3 racing or GT racing to do this because you don't want the competition to see what you're doing with your car and trying to emulate it before you push it out. This is a body that does not have any real shape to what the OEMs are going to use. Why are you dazzling a generic body that we're not going to see much after this week? Or after this test?
It's my only answer.
It makes no sense. I feel like it's an oversight. Some people said that they did it just to, not have a bunch of people on social media and Twitter, trying to armchair aerodynamicist the car, but people are doing that anyway, so it kind of defeats the purpose. But I don't get it. Just make the car so that it's actually racy, and I don't really care. However, Caitlin and I are kind of split on what it looks like right now, the generic body. I liked it. Caitlin does not like it at all. Michael can break the tie for the show here. Michael, what did you think of it?
It's a car.
Is it though? It really doesn't look like a car at all. How do we define a car?
I guess that's going to be a draw then. So we got one.
I honestly looked at it. I'm looking at another picture of it, and I was just like, I see what you're doing, NASCAR.
It doesn't tickle Michael's nuts at all, is what he's saying.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna sound wild here, but it doesn't pique a boner.
See, it doesn't tickle his nuts at all.
Well,
an LMP1 that causes me to get a boner, but this, it. there's no reaction.
Well,
Timmy's not reacting. Timmy is dead.
I missed Michael.
I missed you guys. But we will see.
I'm sorry for that, by the way, audience. But
we will see what happens in a year from now, as they'll be testing this car for until 2021.
Also, can I just ask a question? How is it that Austin Dillon is the one who ends up in this car out of all people? Can we really take what I mean, it's not like he's a championship contender.
Okay, so from what Pakras said on Twitter, RCR has been helping with the initial design of the chassis, so the car was built there.
There shouldn't be any. See, that in and of itself is a little suspicious to me.
Yeah, because you look at
how
it,
is
it's
it
like,
neutral then?
Because the way it looks, it's like they're getting a jump on it, but on the other side, it's RCR with Austin Dillon. So, what is he really going to do? Jump from 23rd to 18th? Just being serious, you know? It's not like their cars have exactly run the best, and all the playoff teams are busy with, well, the playoffs. So, we'll see what they do with the tests going forward, but we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk aeroscreens, as IndyCar has had their test with it, and some people just don't get it. I'll explain on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
What up, all you boxing fans? This is Vince Wright, the sports governor, and me and Gilbert Batista are the host of Ringside on IE Sports Radio. Make sure you keep it tuned to IE Sports Radio, Spreaker.com for the latest edition of Ringside. All the boxing news you need right here. Keep it tuned, Spreaker.com, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, IE Sports Radio proudly brings to you its Intergender Tag Team Champions of the World. Yes, I am Martin Sandoval. My co-host is Felicia, and we are the hosts of The Gorilla Position, live Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. We bring to you all the latest in news and rumors and opinions and perspectives on the world of professional wrestling. We bring you guys the latest in WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and including independent wrestling such as Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and here VIP Wrestling live from Texas. Yes, it is the Gorilla Position with myself, Martin Sandoval, and my co-host Felicia, live on Spreaker.com and on iTunes.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with lists of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the colleges, and everything in between. This is me, your brother Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for the defining moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
Well, we are back, and we had another one of those commercials in our break time conversations where you just go, I'm so glad we're not doing a satellite feed of this. Welcome back to the Extra Mile. Caitlin, Michael, and Daryl back with you, and it feels like an eternity that we've had more than just a couple people on here. And just want to give a quick shout out to Brian Steven in the chat, who said someone did take the time to say whoa when Chase Elliott made his mistake. I was surprised when Elliott made that mistake at the Roval, because like the restart happens and then he just goes straight, and it's like, Chase, we're not running the oval today. Where are you going, buddy?
Well, and the funny thing is that so Cole Pernod even said that when they hit like the braking line, he was going 20 miles per hour faster than he was supposed to be going at like top speed.
Yeah. So we're back, and if my mood goes dour, I've got the score update for the Washington Mystics Connecticut Sun WNBA Finals Game 5 up right now, and
I could not believe that the Connecticut Suns threw this into a Game 5. I talked about that on my show.
Yeah, the Mystics were up 5. The score is now tied. Not really happy with what's going on in this game right now. So hopefully that gets rectified by the time we finish this show. We shall continue. We're going to talk some aeroscreen here for IndyCar, as Michael has sent a picture of what appears to be Daniel Ricciardo with 3 small children to the chat. Not sure what that is about.
That sounds dirty.
It's 3 small children in Daniel Ricciardo uniforms. The only acceptable age to wear a fire suit of your favorite driver to the racetrack, by the way. That's cute. We'll continue with the IndyCar aeroscreen. They just wrapped up a test of that at a Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama. They got to run it in some wet conditions which allowed them to actually test how the thing looked in suboptimal weather conditions. Had a lot of positives to say about it. The drivers did. There were some recommendations for handles to go inside for quick escapes, because if you've seen a picture of this, and I just sent a picture to the Skype chat during the break, this aeroscreen is a lot bigger than I remember they were saying it was going to be.
That's one way to put it. It's literally an entire windshield plus like 10 more inches. It's huge.
It is. It is a massive design.
Huge. I wasn't expecting it. I just, like, the last time I heard it was like this tiny little lip of a thing, which I was cool with. We're good to go. Like, this thing is like a sneeze away from being a closed race car.
And that's what I was saying. And that's what I was saying during the break. At this point, just slap a carbon fiber hood over this thing and make it so that it rises up and down, and make it a canopy. Because at that point, you basically got a canopy in name only. Or you've got a canopy in all but name at this point. And to be honest, it would help when these cars decide that, hey, I want to fly into that fence over there and see what happens. But on the other side of that, unfortunately, there are people that have been in the comment sections lambasting and I'm sad we have to talk about this yet again, but people calling the driver soft because, God forbid, we make sure their heads don't get turned into jam during an accident. Yes.
I mean, really, do they not have any value for human life at all? It's not like they're Supermen.
Apparently not. And the thing that they go back to is, oh, well, in the 60s, they didn't need this. Yeah, in the 60s, they also sat on the gas tank. Like, just because they did it that way 60 years ago doesn't mean we need to be doing it like that now. And let me tell you something. For people that don't get it, not only do we need to make sure that we keep these drivers safe, here's the thing. Dead drivers makes for bad TV. See 2011 when we lost Dan Weldon. See a couple of years ago when we lost Justin Wilson. Nobody wants to see drivers die. And this sport is still dangerous. These cars are going over 200 miles per hour. There is no way you're going to make this 100% safe. So they have to do, however, that doesn't mean we just don't do anything because, oh, racing's always going to be dangerous. We need to do the best we can to make sure that we can mitigate the risk. That's what they're doing with this aeroscreen. And if you don't like it, well, the door's over to your right. If you do, and there's really, I don't even want to say if you do like it, it doesn't matter if you don't like it. You're not driving the car, so who cares what you think at this point? The only people, when it comes to safety issues, the only people we need to listen to are the people that have to strap into the car. Because it's their lives they're putting on the line every time they start the engines up.
I'm not arguing with that.
Yeah. So it's just frustrating that we're still here with this.
It's still an open car, at least.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if they just close it up and
it's just a little.
Go ahead.
Oh, I would say it's just a little dramatic. And that's the part that I feel like that's where my line is. Like, to me, going to making it closed, like you're changing it to a different sport entirely at that point, in my opinion. And I know that's where like the big line is. I feel like even more toward even than this like little like windshield is that I know that's where the big line, because so many people were like, oh, they just need to be a closed cockpit. That I feel like is the one thing that I'm like, no, I feel like that's kind of the point of open wheel. Is yes, the wheel is exposed, but two, it's how the driver is positioned in this race car. I mean, if they decided for the safety of it that they're like, yeah, it's not like I would not watch the racing, you know what I mean, if it switched to it. But in my opinion, I would much rather, like, to me, that's still a part of this series.
Mm.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it'd be like, that'd be the difference of like, the like, you know, like NASCAR switching from a stock car like chassis to, you know, something closer to open wheel. Then you're
Delara
I mean, I have issues with that anyway, but you know.
Well, Delara is making the new NASCAR chassis, so
guess we'll find out.
Does make IndyCar, so we'll see what happens. But seriously, I get that point, but if they decide that they need to close the cockpits on these things, I would not mind. So it's something they have to look at, but it is really frustrating having to go in the comments and hear a bunch of people lambast the drivers for, you know, wanting to be safe in their race car. Like, is this really the hill you want to die on? Is this really the side of history you want to be on? I don't get it, but they're going to take delivery of these canopies around Christmas time. So these things will be bolted on the car in time for 2020. And I can't wait to see how they look. And, hey, maybe they get the aerodynamics on them set enough. Maybe we'll see even faster speeds in Indy. Well, now, wouldn't that be fun?
I mean, I'm not going to complain about that ever. Like I said, and if that makes the driver feel more comfortable, to me, that's going to be the key, too. Mm-hmm. More than anything, you want your driver to feel like he's, safe inside of that race car.
Yeah. Michael, I'll let you have the last word on this. What do you think about this whole cockpit or this whole aeroscreen situation?
I think it's a step in the right direction, to be honest, because a lot of these open wheel cars, they, especially with Antoine Hubert, it does show that these cars still need a lot of safety measures and a lot of protection for the driver. So I definitely think it's a step in the right direction. I agree with what you said. I do think they should have used a cockpit approach instead of a canopy approach, but it is what it is. We'll just have to see how the drivers like it and how the teams will work around it. And like you said, maybe we'll have faster times at Indy, but time will tell.
Well, we will see what happens. We're going to take a break, and then we will come back. We're going to talk Formula One, get you ready for the Japanese Grand Prix, and you might want to look up because there's a hurricane coming through. I'll explain on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Two Wheels Wednesday is the place to come for all your motorcycle sports news every Wednesday on IE Sports Radio with myself, Matt White. All the latest news, rumours, race reviews and previews from World and British Superbikes and the big one, MotoGP. Two Wheels Wednesday, every Wednesday on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sport.
From the home plate to the nets, the end zone to the finish line, here nothing is off limits and no sport is safe. Not what it seems with your host Caitlin Seam, bringing you sports like you've never heard before. Catch me Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on IE Sports Radio. The only question is, are you ready?
Hi everybody, it's Calvin here from USRN, here to give you an important message. Since 2017, we have done our absolute best to provide you with nothing but the highest quality of sports calls in the greatest of quantity possible. Thanks to you, our station has grown more than we ever thought. That's why, with your help, we would like to grow even further. Just think, twice the amount of your favorite calls, 24 hours of coverage, talk shows, play-by-play, game-by-game analysis, and so much more. That's right, USRN2 is officially in development. But we can't do it alone. We have set up a GoFundMe page that you can access from our homepage on the left of your screen. We also are planning special giveaways and prizes to our highest owners. Our goal here at USRN is to bring you the best calls possible at no cost to you. In order to continue to do that, we need your help now. Please check out our GoFundMe page, and if you would like to know how you can help, you can email usrnradio@gmail.com. Without your support, we couldn't do what we do.
Okay, we are back here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We're going to jump right into this. I don't really have any snarky retorts on the intro here. I just want to say something really quick before we get into Formula One. If you've listened to this show for any long periods of time, you know that we have far from a filter on anything. Looking at you, Caitlin.
Smile sweetly.
That includes your favorite team and your favorite driver. I'm not gonna apologize for giving my opinion on a driver. I'm never gonna apologize for that, especially when they have earned that reputation by how they have run. That is all I'm going to say about that. And we're going to continue on to the Formula One Japanese Grand Prix, where a Super Typhoon is moving into the Suzuka area, where, guys, we could have in excess of 120 kilometer per hour winds lashing the speedway on Saturday, and heavy rains. I don't care what type of rain tires you have. 120 kilometer per hour winds, that's pretty fast. You're not going to be able to run a car in that. Obviously, qualifying will end up getting canceled. That would move you to a situation to where they would have to run qualifying on Sunday morning before the race, which puts you in a situation of how rough or how hard do you run the engine, knowing you have to come back and race it in a couple hours.
WEC ran in the snow.
Okay, Michael, the snow is not a tsunami. Snow is pretty. 120 mile per hour winds or kilometer per hour. I need to do the conversion.
Can we do the math, please? So I know what.
Because I'm going to mess this up.
It's going to be like 15 mile per hour winds.
Sorry, I have to do the conversion on this. So the wind speed is 75 miles per hour. So trying to race a car in driving rain and 75 mile per hour sustained winds, I don't think there's a setup that can keep a car on the ground for that.
How are they going to keep these tiny little drivers on the ground? They're going to be walking to their cars and they're going to get blown away. They're going to have to anchor them.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton's not even going to be able to get to his car.
All these drivers
be like,
are
hey, where did Lewis go?
Yeah, all these drivers are pretty tiny.
They're itty bitty.
The scenario Daryl just said is the only way this race is going to work.
Yeah.
There's no way.
So, obviously, they're not going to do qualifying on Saturday if the storm hits. So, you go into Sunday, first you're going to have to get all your practice running, including your qualifying runs, done on Friday. Which also means on Sunday, do you run the engine full out for qualifying, or do you turn down the engine modes, knowing that you have to run the car in a couple hours, and take advantage of the fact that somebody may run their car too hard and damage it before the race. I mean, we know that these F1 engines, they are I would say they are almost bulletproof, but they're really not. They can be temperamental at times, but if you're a team like Mercedes, who's already, if they have a decent run, they're going to lock up the championship, the World Constructors Championship on Sunday. Do you really take a chance at running the engine too hard during qualifying? Or do you just say, hey, we're going to just run the standard race modes, take a couple of spots back, and just cruise to a championship? Because they've pretty much got it wrapped up at this point.
I mean, I think everybody's going to wait and see. I mean, at this point, I would almost feel like that there's a strong possibility that they're just going to put the race on hold as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 75 mile per hour winds. First off, yeah, the people in the car, but what about everybody on pit lane?
Yeah.
How are you supposed? I could see so many tires just being like, oh, bye. Oh, well, there goes a tire changer.
Yeah, that's why
I need him.
I have an idea.
Hoses whipping in the wind.
I don't think it'll work.
Sorry.
I have an idea, but I don't think it'll work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all ears.
So you said they would have to run qualifying Sunday morning and then run the race like later that afternoon.
Yeah.
I was thinking it sounds crazy, but why not wait a few more hours, let the engines cool down, and make it, like a dusk till night race or a dawn till night race, like Abu Dhabi.
I mean, that'd be great, but they don't have lights.
Oh, geez, they don't?
No.
Jesus.
So that really wouldn't work.
Jeez, all right.
Yeah, they've got a pickle on their hands for Saturday. The drivers, for their part, have said they want a call on whether or not they're going to run qualifying by Friday evening. I don't see it running. I mean, 75 mile per hour winds, you're not going to have people drive out to the speedway with those type of winds coming up. As they're calling it Typhoon Hagbis.
Hagbis?
Yeah.
We've really run out of names that we're naming the Typhoon Hagbis.
That doesn't sound Japanese at all.
Well, typhoon and hurricane names are pulled from a different list, even though they're the same storm.
For the record, it might be that, but it's set because it says the Japan's capital city in the path of Typhoon Hagbis that is set to unleash 140 mile per hour winds. Because apparently the Rugby World Cup has already canceled its matches on Saturday.
Well, that's new because, and this is as of Scott Mitchell's writing. Of course, this was earlier this morning. Obviously, the storm could have intensified by now. As of the writing of this article, which is about 6:42 a.m., the winds were at 120 kilometers. But if the storm is rapidly intensified, then we are in for a concern to where maybe they might not have the race.
So this is part of like the article off of Yahoo Sports. It says, for now, Motorsport's world governing body, the FIA, is holding fire on canceling Saturday's entire program, including F1 qualifying. They will see whether the Typhoon takes another turn, as it already has done this week. It is understood a decision will be taken early evening local time on Friday. At this stage, fine weather is forecast for Sunday, so the race itself is not in any danger.
So the winds are currently, as of right now, latest update, they're up to 240 kilometers per hour or 140 miles per hour in American units, gusts of 295 kilometers per hour. basically, this is a dangerous situation, and it's Friday. I was going to say, I don't know why they're waiting so late, but it's Friday now over there. In fact, practice 1 starts in 20 minutes, according to motorsport.com, actually 16 minutes before the start of free practice 1. So they are racing, but this is a worrisome weather situation anytime you have a storm of this strength coming through. And they say that the race is not in any danger, but you really don't know how much damage those winds and rains could do to the speedway. And we could look up and be in a situation where we're not racing on Sunday, but fingers crossed that does not happen. And if we do get in the race, this might be a race where Ferrari can recover, but guys, they have a problem. This Leclerc-Vettel thing is starting to look real Vettel, any of his teammates, his later years in Red Bull.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can see that.
This is a concern if you are a Ferrari fan, if you want to see them make something of the second half of this season, or what remains of it, because they're not going to win the title.
And what's worse is they have the prime opportunity to make up the second half of the season, because Mercedes has basically said, "Oh well, we've already won both championships, so we're not developing the car anymore." They haven't said that, but you know that's what's going on.
Well, Toto Wolff did say that they had started paring down to go into 2020 car development. They've basically gone into 2020 car development mode because they don't really have any points to race for at this point. And they're doing development for next year's car a little bit at a time during the year, but it ramps up now as you're getting towards the end of the season. But they have nothing to fight for in 2019. They've got the title, so they can just say, okay, this is the way the car is going to be. We'll head into 2020. And that's what they're looking like. And that's why they've suddenly slowed down, and Ferrari has kind of passed them, but then Ferrari keeps giving them wins because they don't know how to strategize. And we've seen that already. So, with that being said, we have picks to make, as we need to start digging into Caitlin's lead at this point.
No, you don't.
Well, I would like to.
No. It's not necessary.
Actually, we have a bulletin. Breaking news.
What?
We have a bulletin. This was posted 3 minutes ago by F1 Media. I'm going to try to blow this up. F1 Media posted this on Twitter. It is a official weather statement on the Japanese Grand Prix. And I will read the statement. As a result of the predicted impact of Typhoon Hagibis on the Formula One Japanese Grand Prix 2019, Mobility Land and the Japanese Automobile Federation, JAF, have decided to cancel all activities scheduled to take place on Saturday, October the 12th. The FIA and Formula One support this decision in the interest of safety for the spectators, competitors, and everyone at the Suzuka circuit. As a result, below is the updated schedule based on the current weather predictions. And Saturday, October 12th, there will be no activity. Track will be closed for the public and the media. They're going to qualify the cars at 10 a.m. local time. The race will be conducted at 2:10 local time. So you've only got 3 hours between qualifying and the race, as they will not run any activity on Saturday, and that is for the best, to be honest.
Yeah, can I just say it's kind of funny that the Japanese people are the ones who, like, motorsports people are the ones who cancel it first, not the FIA. They're like, because the Japan motorsports people said we have to.
Yeah, that is, I'm going to say that is not a good look, but we need to try and...
I'm just saying, what does that say? That the local ones are like the ones, like the local organizers are like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
And now the FIA is like, well, because they said no, we can't.
Yeah, they should have
just kind of funny.
Yeah, they should have had made that call themselves. But the call has been made. They are not going to qualify on Saturday, which means I think there's going to be a mini FIFA tournament going on, because during the Thursday pre-race press conference, there was a couple of drivers trying to set up a little bit of a FIFA tournament between them. So we'll see how that goes for the drivers and the teams. But for now, we got to make picks. We have to try and catch Caitlin, because there's only 26 points up for grabs here for the remainder of the season. And right now,
That's too many.
Everybody up back to about Lita is still in contention for the championship.
That's terrifying.
I am going to make a selection, and that is going to be... God, I want to pick a Ferrari, but I know how Ferrari is right now, so you don't know what they're going to do. Red Bull just doesn't have the speed to pick up the pieces, and I'm trying to save the Hamilton picks as much as I can, because double points at Abu Dhabi. I'm going to go Bottas this week, just for the strategic of the points.
Bottas.
Caitlin, who you got?
Who did I pick last week?
Well, God, it's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Did I pick Hamilton?
I don't remember. I would say Matt would help us, but Matt's getting married this weekend.
He's getting married, so I can get away with anything, honestly.
Which, by the way, that's why we didn't have any hot laps today, because Matt is getting ready to do something a lot more important, which is get married. Congratulations to you, buddy. Send lots of pictures, including adorable Amelia pictures. You know we are a sucker for adorable baby pictures.
Here, I'm looking right now. Who did I pick for this one? Oop. I just wanted to make sure that... All right, so I picked Hamilton for Russia, because we got our 2 points. Because me and you, Daryl, both picked him. And you went with Bottas. May as well go with Verstappen.
Michael, who you got?
Leclerc.
All right, so we have one more race to pick. That is Talladega. That is a race you can also listen to me be on the call with Matthew Owens and Seth Eves on USRN this weekend. This is a race. These super speedway races are a lot harder to pick, because you literally do not know what is going to happen. I know the Fords have been strong. So I think Clint Boyer is going to rally and get himself into the third round of the playoffs. So I'm going to pick Clint Boyer this weekend.
Clinty Clint.
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Penske car, because they're pretty darn good here. I'm going to go with Keselowski over Logano, though.
Michael, who you got?
I'm gonna go with... I want to go Stuart Haas. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with Clint.
Okay. So that being said, it is time for us to throw the checkered flag on this episode of The Extra Mile. No Lita this weekend, but Lita, unfortunately, work stress has been a killer. So we just want to throw out our well wishes to Lita, and we will see her soon. Always want to keep up with our friends and really our family now here over the last 3 years that we've all been together. So just want to give a quick shout out to Lita, and we will see her next week or whenever things finally settle down. We cannot wait to see her.
It'd be nice to have
again.
the whole fam bam together again.
Yeah, because we have not had the four of us together in really
Months.
since September. which is
right,
ironic.
a month.
Yeah.
Me being dramatic. Who, me? Never.
Yeah. So we will see what happens with that, but it's time for us to say goodnight. Remember, check out Caitlin's show before this, Not What It Seems, 5 p.m. here on IE Sports Radio. Remember, check out the website, www.iesportsradio.com. If you've missed any episode of this show, you can hear it on YouTube, the Spreaker Show Reel, iTunes, Stitcher, and everywhere else where podcasts can be heard. And also keep up with our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember, lead us writings at gpgirl.com, mine at WBGR Sports, or WBGRnetwork.com. And that being said, for Caitlin and Michael, this is Daryl. This has been The Extra Mile, and we will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.